What's up, Nitro Nation? Welcome, all newbies, middies, oldie but goodies, muggy maniacs, truggy maniacs, buggy maniacs. Yeah, even the monster truck maniacs still playing and fucking around with those pull starts and roto start shit. But you know, at least they're not doing E-word. That's the way the muggies got to look at it, because you know, I give guys a hard time. You know, the pull start, roto start, and I've given guys a hard time, and all these, maybe seems like I'm giving people a hard time breaking ball. I'm just keeping it real, man. It's real. That's what it is. Sometimes people just don't like reality. Some people like reality, some people don't, because when the truth is exposed, if you're part of the problem and not the solution, then it might sting a little bit. And trust me, how do I know this? I've been there, done that. Come on, people. Who do you guys think you're talking to? Who do you think you're dealing with, man? The monkey maniac is half a freaking century old, people. All right? So, I mean, been around the block many times. Okay? And, nitro is only, part of the mechanics that I come from and the background as far as, wrenching on shit, This just plays into what the muggy maniac likes to do. I like to tinker. I like to wrench. I like to do this. I'd probably get as, and this might sound crazy to a lot of people. Some it might not, but most of you guys it probably will. I get as much enjoyment out of wrenching and fixing and maintaining these things as I do running them. That's when you know you're a true, 100% true freaking gearhead. I don't want to say nitro head, because that means I'd have to have 20 years experience in nitro. I only got 4. Coming on 4. Around 4. But I was in E-word for many years, before half you guys were born. So anyway, this is going to be some real shit right here. We're going to lay some real shit down because, there's a lot of things going on in nitro. The biggest thing is the tuning thing, the motor thing. And that's why I came up with the 3 basic fundamentals of nitro that I believe. Okay, and I'm not the first one that came up with this. This didn't just fall out of the sky, and I didn't just pull it out of my ass either. This is some real shit that I see people go through. Okay, am I the best guy at tuning? No, never said I was. But I can get my shit tuned to where it runs the way it should run, the way that I feel it should run, and it performs. Hey, sure, it's not going to be running like Adam Drake shit or Elliott Boots or some pros. It's never. I'm not at their level. That's way above me. Those guys get paid to do this shit. Not to say that if I got paid, I'd probably put, that much more effort into it. I already put enough into it as it is. I put into it a lot as it is because not I'm getting paid, but I paid. Which means probably you should probably put more effort into this shit because you actually paid money. It came out of your fucking pocket. Unless Daddy Warbucks and Pimp Daddy or, your mom gave it to you and you're still living at home with your parents and they just buy you shit, or you're somebody that just and not to knock anybody, but my brother, like he's my one of my real I mean all you guys are my natural brothers, but this guy I talk to, other than we talk like every other day. I just talked to him the other day. The guy I'm talking about is the lead RC. Even that guy, he I don't know exactly what he does. We never got, we haven't got that personal yet. I mean, we're pretty cool. We've never met. It's pretty cool. But this guy makes a decent living, just like other guys. John Bodegel. These guys, money to them is nothing to them. Not that these guys are filthy rich, but when you get into fifth scale, and these guys are full tilt into fifth scale, both of these guys, that's a lot more money, man. That's one of the many reasons that I'm not in it yet. It's a big jump financially. It's a big jump, more responsibility, more time, just everything, man. This is enough for me right now. And I still got a lot more to do. Do I want to get into fifth scale? Hell yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to do this like fucking extra supersized, bigger? Why not? Bigger motors, bigger, you know. The only thing that's not there is the RPMs. You're not going to get the RPMs. And most of you guys know that. If you don't know, RPMs are not there. These nitros, just a .21 stock is putting out 20 to 30,000 RPMs. Maybe a big ass 60, 80, 90 cc fifth scale 2-stroke, you know, motor. Basically, it's a chainsaw motor. At the most, those things are maybe getting 20 to 30,000 RPMs. Maybe. That's a lot. Because I mean, I talk to Elite about it all the time, and you know, John Bodegels, he'll tell you too. He misses the RPMs. I know that. Because you're not, and that's a .21. So you can imagine these .28s and .32s that are modded, you're talking around 60,000 RPMs. That's like 3 times the amount of RPMs that any fifth scale big ass motor puts out. They just don't have. It's different though because it's power, man. Those things are just. It's a beast. You know, it's pushing a 60 whatever pound vehicle. Those things weigh a ton. But anyway, so we're just gonna get into some shit. We're gonna talk about some real shit. We're gonna keep it real, you know. And there's a lot of people that are in nitro that will not be in nitro this time next year. There's already people since I've been in it that I've seen just disappear, fall off the map. You know, they came out, they had motors modded, and they got all their stuff, and they're you know, doing some videos, and then they just disappear. And you never hear from them again. And it happens. Whatever, it might be personal stuff. I'm not saying it has to do all with RC. A lot of guys go into fifth scale and just put nitro on the side, and, you know, like John has done, Bodegel, he's not even into nitro right now. Does that mean he doesn't know about nitro? That doesn't mean he knows what he's talking. No, that has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying what John's into right now, Mr. Za, he's full into fifth scale and drag racing. So you're into fifth scale and drag racing, you know, and I still watch his videos because you know, he's one of my brothers. He's the one that influenced me to get into nitro. He's one of the biggest reasons that I got into it, and he turned me on to a lot of the things that I share with you guys, and a lot of things that I learned from Za, Mr. Za. Zacafed or whatever he says. I used to think the guy was Italian because he sounds like a mafia guy. He's not. He's Portuguese, which is the same thing to me. Anyway, but anyway, you know, so he's just into fifth scale, into drag racing. Elite RC, he's into fifth scale. These guys are all into fifth scale drag racing. There isn't anybody that I see that is fully into nitro right now, except for me. And I've only been around a handful of years. I haven't been around that long. So anyway. Yeah, so I mean, I've learned from these guys, and I still watch the videos, and I still talk to these guys, you know, but they're just not in the nitro right now. And hopefully Mr. Za will be back in it, and the other guys that, you know, aren't in it right now, but I don't know if they really will, because you can't do both. You can't have your cake and eat it in RC. You just can't. That's why I'm not too hip on guys that are doing E-word and they're doing nitro. Man, either you do one or the other. If you're a full nitro guy, get in nitro. Put in the E-word shit away. If you're into both, pick one or the other. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, maybe it floats your boat or whatever, but that's not somebody that's really into it. I just want to stick to one thing. This is enough. And I don't really, E-word doesn't do anything for me anyway, even if I was into it, which I'm not, and I never will be anymore because it's not real. I like these things, man. They're real. They breathe. They live. They pump fuel. They got flame going through it. They got exhaust fumes. I mean, gears and clutches and all that shit, man. This is real. This is real shit. This isn't, you know, no E-word shit. There's no E-word here, people. The only E-word here is what I've been having problems with. Come to speak of E-word, the damn electronics. I wish we didn't have to deal with electronics in this shit. But you do, you know, and the issue that I have, the Savox. These Savoxes that I've been running, I've ran these for a while. And I still have 2 of them in my Techno. And these are the SCO 2550. These are like, they're like 30 something bucks. They're not the high end and they're not the cheap ones. They're like, they're a mid-level. And I've always had good luck with these. These are very durable. They're pretty quick and pretty torquey. Not for racing, but for bashing, they're perfect. And more importantly, for bashing, they're durable, man. I beat the hell out of these things. But as of lately, I've been having issues with them. Maybe I got a bad batch. You know, the first ones I still have them. These ones that I got later, I mean, Savox just sent me two because they're warranted, and one already took a shit on me, or, you know, this one took a shit, and, you know, I'm on my third one now. This is my third Savox that took a dump on me. And am I saying, well, Savoxes aren't no good? No. I mean, because you get what you pay for, right? To a certain extent. But if you can't come out with a mid-level, affordable servo that's decent for the money, why would anybody, including me, especially me, want to? Because I've thought about getting high-end Savoxes. You know, the ones that are more expensive, even though I really don't need them because I don't race. That's my theory on servos. Guys spend all these money. If it's over like $60, I'm not spending it on a servo. I mean, a $49.99 Protect, or lowest budget one, doesn't have shit for torque and is not that quick. These Savoxes are quicker. These Savoxes, by the way, they're like almost around 200 on the torque. Okay, 200 on the torque, which isn't a lot, but it's enough for bashing. Okay, and on the speed, they're 10 seconds, which again isn't really quick, but it's quick enough for bashing. Could you race these? Yeah, but you wouldn't be very quick, you know. These aren't really, you know, but I don't race, so that doesn't mean nothing to me. Okay, that's irrelevant to anything about bashing. Racing, some things do apply, but most of it doesn't. It's completely different. So anyway, these are called these servos that I got here. These are DC 6015 JXs. These are $20, man, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I heard only reason I even got them is because Elite runs the 5th scale ones, the big giant, you know, servos they use on his 5Bs, and he's been running them. He runs a little bit the higher end JXs because they make, you know, different, you know, levels of JX servos, but he runs them and he says, hey man, why don't you try JX servos? And I've never heard of them. He goes, man, I use them on my 5th scale and I've never had issues with them. And I love these servos and they're very affordable. You know, sometimes you spend on the name, but then I looked at it, you know where Savoxes are made? These Savoxes, they're made in Taiwan. You know where these JXs are made? Here I go again. The levels of Asian, if you don't know. These are made in China. China isn't the best, but it's better than Taiwan. Okay? For the most part. So, you know, they're higher on the, should I say, the food chain of quality. Korea's bottom. Then it goes Taiwan, then China, and then obviously Japan's the best. You know, but anyway, these things have more, these things got like 9 seconds. 8 or 9? They're pretty quick. I mean, you can see them. Obviously the tires, that's on the, not on the ground, but I mean, not bad. For $18, $20, I guess, with shipping and handling and everything, for a servo, why not? I mean, hell. And I ran both of them. I ran one on the throttle yesterday, which it was nice and quick, fast. Braking was no problem because you're putting more stress on servos as far as the braking life part of it. And these GXs did well. Obviously my Savox did, and that one took a shit. By the way, that one just stopped completely working. That servo does not work at all. Period. I already tested it. It's done. So, and the steering one, on these GXs, the steering, as far as for steering, I used the same servo on the buggy. And as far as the torque, the quickness, and you guys see in the video, it was fine. So I've tested these servos, steering and throttle. This will be the first time I'll be running these. I'm going to run these soon here. And I'm going to be the first time I'm running these as a set. Same servos, one for throttle, one for steering. And we'll see what happens. So all's well until it takes a shit on me. Then I'll move on to something else, probably Protec, but they're just expensive. By the way, this Fly Sky, man, if you want a decent radio, I've had minimum issues, nothing really big with these, but I've never, the only electronic I can say that I've never had an issue with, anything thus far, is this here. The old classic. These, and you can still get them. I recommend these highly. For any newbie, you got to get one of these. This is the Fly Sky FS GT 3B. Everything you need for nitro. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles and all the gauges and temperature readings and all that shit. But hey, you know what? Dollar for dollar, that is the best freaking radio out there. Period. End of story. Not a question. Okay? And that's why I have two of them. And I am gonna get another one. I'm gonna get I have two. I'm gonna get one more just to have, brand new in the box. I mean, I have the boxes. Who knows? If I get a new one here soon, I might just who knows? Maybe by the end of this week, I might just give. Those are brand new. I take care of my shit. They're not beat up. I have the I have the receiver for it. I would throw in that in this contest with the receiver. No servos. Sorry, people. I'm trying to accumulate my own. But anyway, so now we're going to talk about some more shit here. And so anyway, this thing ran great. Pico's on point. Every time you change something, the spark plug, I popped the spark plug running. When you run, the reason you pop spark plugs is because the motor is not accepting it as far as it's too hot. If it gets to a point where it's too hot, well, it's better for that to pop than something else. So I popped it. It was a number 4. The weather's starting to change. So all the weather changes and everything is going to vary into how you're tuning your motor. So we're going to talk a little bit about tuning. And we're going to get the big picture on tuning. In the next 10 or 15 minutes, we're just going to focus on tuning because there's too much there's controversy on why would you ask anybody but the best? Okay, when I give you guys references, don't take my word. When I tell you Adam Drake, unless you just don't know who the hell he is or what the equivalent this guy is to Nitro, that guy is God. Okay, and I don't mean like he's God. In Nitro, that would be the equivalent, okay, of Adam Drake, who he represents. When you mention the name Adam Drake, as far as Nitro is concerned, he is the God of Nitro, the king. Okay, it would be like like if you're into gaming, PlayStation and all that, Kratos. I mean, Kratos is a badass, period, right? Well, why do you think I'm, John has a sick-ass Gamble, I think. Barry Gamble did his paint job on his 4.0. This one I did myself. This is my God of War. I love God of War. I might do another God of War. I don't know. I have a new body on the way for the MBX 7 Mugen. But I'm not sure. It's gonna be custom painted by me. So I think I'm gonna go off the lines. I really like the superhero one, and I want to do a follow up to this, but something different. Along that lines, trust me, it's gonna be sick, and I'll show you guys how I do the paint jobs and the glue, it's called the picture glue, and how to use it and everything. But anyway, if you're gonna learn about tuning, why would you ask anybody? Me, Nitro, the guy we don't mention, you know who. Why would you seek anybody when it's on the tube? Adam Drake. I gave you guys the link or the video, Elliott Boots. Do you even know who Mike Croddick is? Obviously you don't, because you don't know these guys' mechanics. Ty Tessman, yeah, do you think he tunes his shit? No. His father does, Gordy. He has videos. Gordy Tessman has been around. And that is the tuner of a world champion. Ty Tessman is a world champion. Okay, Adam Drake is a world champion. Elliott Boots is these people are world. It's be like, let me give you one of the Muggy's analogies. You know how Muggy likes to give metaphors and analogies? Because sometimes I think that's how I can get it across the word. And that's where my teaching, I think, where I got a knack for what people say that I have a gift of teaching. Well, maybe I do. It's taking me forever to realize it. I like to give analogies because that basically what an analogy or metaphor does is it makes you, to whatever level you're at, understand what I'm trying to say or what the point is here. Let's use sports for example. I love using sport as an analogy because a lot of it is the same type of fundamentals as nitro. You know, if I'm going to learn, if I want to be a quarterback in the NFL, why would I ask Jonathan McNair? And you guys know who he is. Great guy. Sad to say that he's no longer alive. Why would I take advice from, I don't know, let's say basketball players, okay? And I'm talking, they're great, but they're not the best. Patrick Ewing, New York Knicks center, one of the greatest of all time, Hall of Famer. You know how many rings he has? 0. Does that mean he's bad? No. He's just not the guy that I would go to. Now, Jordan? Of course. Who wouldn't? LeBron? He's got some championships, but he's not there yet, in my opinion. Remember, this is my opinion. So, if I want to be a great quarterback, and I want to be a champion caliber quarterback, who do you think's ear I'm going to be getting in? Tom Brady, John Elway, Troy Aikman, Joe Montana, Steve Young. These are guys that all have championships. These are champions. These are not just great at what they do, because there's a lot of great quarterbacks. But there's only the elite that are like the top. And in my opinion, the top, let's just say, because I'm a fan of both of them, top 2 to me, and I've always been a Joe Montana fan, and that's who everybody compares, because Joe was just Joe. 4 championships. And there's guys, that have 4 rings just like him. Aikman has 3. Steve Young has 3. Bradshaw, Terry Bradshaw, another great. Joe Namath, the list goes on and on. But I'm talking modern day, like, badasses. They call him the GOAT, greatest of all time. Right? Who's the GOAT? And he doesn't like to be called this, and the guy is pretty humble, even though he's cocky as shit. And this guy is very, very, like, passionate and has high standards. And I'm talking about Mr. Tom Brady. And I'm not a huge Patriot fan, but Tom Brady, man, you got to give the guy credit, man. You can't deny him. He just proved it again. And he continues, and he's still not done. This guy is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He has 5 Super Bowl rings. No quarterback has 5. Joe Montana has 4. One of the greatest.
Ready to pair.
But not how many people have 5. Tom Brady with the same team, too. Joe Montana was always a 49er, but still. So I would be going to those guys. So when I give you guys like Elliott Boots, the guy that Elliott Boots is like, I can give you the list. You can pull it up on Google it. Top 25 pro nitro guys in the world, not just in the United States or in the planet. Okay, Elliott Boots is up there. Ty Tessman, obviously. Ryan Mayfield. These guys have videos and mechanics that'll tell you how they tune motors. I showed you the Cody King. Those guys are world champions too. And there's not. I think sometimes people are just reading into it too much. Now here, I'm going to show you this video real quick, and then I'm going to cover a couple things, and then I'm going to bounce out. I'm going to get ready to finish putting my my shit together. And this is Adam Drake, man. He's laying down the tune, and this is the guy this guy is a legend. This guy, he's offering his services to people all over the world, and these are world champions that are asking him, hey, please, can you do your motor shit for me? Because they respect the guy, because he's the man. So I think what he says is law. In nitro, anyway. But you listen to whoever you want. Whatever works for you. Some people just will eventually just get frustrated and leave nitro because they can't tune a motor. It's one of the biggest things and biggest issues in nitro. I can't tune my motor. I don't know what to do. Well, there's plenty of videos. There's no excuse. But maybe just you don't have the DNA to do nitro. Like I said before, some people just aren't cut out to do nitro, and that's why I like nitro. Nitro keeps people. Nitro is kept pure, and the reason I think one of the big reasons it can't really grow really big like E-word, because not everybody can do it. That's the sole reason nitro will never be as big as you were. As sad as I'd like to say, because not everybody can do nitro. It takes a special breed of people to do nitro. It takes talent. It takes patience. A lot of people don't have that. Remember, this is the generation. I'm old school. Even I tell my kids, this generation has no patience. We want it now. Internet fast. Quadruple, double snapdragon, whatever the hell your phones are run on now. Fast, fast, fast. Somebody puts you on hold, you get pissed off. You don't want to wait. You get, you got to answer certain questions. It just we have no patience. This generation of 2019 has zero patience, and because of that, you can't do nitro. If you don't have patience, a lot of patience, you're gonna quit. You're gonna get fucking, excuse my language, nagged out because you can't do something that's not really that hard because you just don't have the patience. So let me tell you right now, if you don't have the patience, get the fuck out of nitro. And I've told this to you guys before, maybe it's been a while, I need to refresh everybody. If you don't have the patience, you don't want to work hard, you're lazy fuck, get the fuck out of nitro. Don't do nitro. And I mean that in a nice way because you're wasting your time. Don't waste your time when you could be doing something else that you might be better suited for, something else that you will be less stress for you. Or whatever. This is no stress for me. I get frustrated, sure. But it's not stress. It's just fun. I love it. When my shit breaks and falls apart, man, I'm like, okay, let me get back to the cave. Sure, my day's fucked now, and I kind of spoiled my bashing session, kind of, bummed out, kick rocks on the way back home. But when I get back home, all right, let's get in here. Let's see what the deal is. What happened? Let's troubleshoot, okay? Which is another one of the three things I talk about, fundamentals that I'm going to get into. Maybe not this video, I might touch on a little bit, but on the next couple videos. I just want to really hit hard on the tuning and also the upkeep and the maintaining. And I think with the maintaining and upkeep, we've went over that, but there's still more to it. I don't want to rush through any of this because I think this shit is important. These things are the reason why people can't do nitro and will quit. And I want to try to help people. Let me take the mystery out of the end result of what you're doing. Okay, that's as best I can put it. So anyway, let's listen to see what Adam's got to say about all this shit. Come on, Adam, where you at?
We've learned a lot and just kind of want to share that with everyone. Just kind of the proper way of what we've learned as far as breaking in the engines, tuning the engines, different clutch setups, just little things that we've learned to help increase runtime, and also just the tuning and making the engines very reliable. The engine that I run in my buggy is
he's got good taste in music.
The 21-4. The engine has a very, very smooth power band. The runtime is incredible. The pipe that I run is the Novorosky 9901 Super Strong with the 410-21 header and the Novorosky C6 TGC glow plug. So tonight we'll go over just kind of showing the basic carb settings for that. Another one of the engines that we'll go over tonight is the Novorosky Carburetor.
See, he's going over Novorosky motors, which, I mean, most motors are the same, but some motors, remember, they tune different.
The 410-21 header, the same as my buggy, 9853 pipe. The third engine tonight that one of the things that's very, very often overlooked with tuning your engine is your clutch setup.
Exactly.
You see people all the time that may struggle or have problems with bottom end, and it could be one extreme or the other. It could be that the clutch is just way oversprung, or that the clutch doesn't have enough spring on it. It's way too heavy. It's something that you really kind of have to have an ear for, and definitely pay attention to setups that you may find online from team drivers. All of my setups are online for both my buggy and truck, with my clutch setups, which flywheel weight I use, whether it's steel or aluminum, which springs, which compound shoes.
Keep in mind, this is when he was with Losi. It's an older video, but
you just really, really need to pay close attention to. Not only your clutch wear, but also just how it's set up, because it can have a very, very big impact on the tuning of your engine. If the clutch is too heavy or the springs are too light, your engine, no matter what your tune is, will not produce the power that you want. It'll always have that lag. It'll end up running hotter, and you just won't get the full potential out of the engine.
Did you hear what he said, man? That's important. I think I missed that for a long time. You know, and it's something that I've learned that man, because I used to think, man, my low end's great. I got it set. I did the pinch test. It's dying after like 4 or 5 seconds. That's perfect. Okay. My high-end needle's not too rich. It's not too lean. My idle's nice and great. But, you know, when I give it, it just doesn't have that bottom end, or, you know, it's just like lagging on power. You know, let me lean it. So, and you spend all this time fucking with all the needles when that's not even what the problem is. The issue is your clutch. You heard what he said. You're either too sprung high, your springs are too heavy, or they're too light. So your clutch is either not engaging quick enough, or it's not engaging, you know, when it in mid-range, or wherever it might be, wherever the power might be lagging. You know, I noticed, then this happened yesterday again, something I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, yeah, I popped the plug, no big deal, that happens. Okay, and it's better than blowing your motor up. So I know, when you change your plugs, you know, quite to the contrary, people think, and this is what I used to think, and there's another video. Check this video out, it's called The Black Art of Nitro Glow Plugs. Some British kid or whatever talking about plugs and how he got really good at figuring out that plugs is a lot to your tuning too. When you change a plug, man, it changes the whole tune. When you change your pipe, it changes the tune. When you change a venturi, it changes the tune. You change your air filter, it changes the tune. Everything that comes or is connected to this motor that you might change, whether it's a pipe, whether it's the plug, you know, I won't even talk about the shims because that's a whole another video. You know, your air filter, a bigger one, a smaller one, different type of air filter, your venturi. I mean, all that shit is going to affect the way that your motor tunes. The weather affects though. That's why this is so, it's not hard, but that's why people quit. They can't take something like this that you know, and get good at it to where they can tune it right, and they know what to do. And it's taken me almost 4 years, man. So you think you're gonna get it right off the bat? I don't think so. You might get lucky, and you know, hey, I'm not saying that you can't, but there's a lot to this. You know, especially if you're the guy that can't, like I said before in videos, if you're the guy that can't change a flat tire, you're fucked. You are going to have problems. You better pay attention, do your homework, watch every fucking video, excuse my language, out there, and you really, 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 really need to study hard. Like extra hard, harder than anybody, because you can't change a flat tire. You're just one of those guys that there's not real mechanically inclined. Or guys that, you know, here, I don't know anything about nitro. Really? You don't know anything about a motor? You drive a car, right? You don't know anything about a pipe, a header? You know your car has, you know, an exhaust on it. You know your car has a carburetor, right? It has a piston, has spark plugs, it has a clutch, right? Well, I mean, unless it's an automatic, but it still has some kind of clutch. It has gearing, right? But you still don't? Oh my God. Then you're the guy that can't change a flat tire, let alone never wrench on your own car. Never. You just take it in and have somebody done. You are going to have problems. And those are the people that quit. Those are the people that don't stay in nitro because they can't do it. They can't learn it. You know, they don't have the DNA to do this. And I say, well, you know, if you're running nitro, you're special. No, we're just a different breed of people. That's why there's not a lot of people that will ever be. Nitro will never be as big as electric, man. It never will be. Because people just aren't patient enough to learn this and get good at it. I mean, like I said, 4 years and I still don't know dick. 4 years in nitro. Eating, sleeping, breathing, shitting, nitro. Almost 4 years, the Muggy Maniac. And I still don't know shit. So to speak. I'm not saying I don't know anything. I'm just, you know what I'm saying. There's a lot for me to learn still. That's why I'm not even... Are you kidding me? Fifth scale? Please. Not even close. Oh yeah, so what I was going to say, if you're if your pinion bell, becomes loose or has too much play in it, you can't tune it. How do I know? Because I've done it. You can't tune it. It won't idle. It won't settle down. It'll quit. It'll flame out and you'll think something else. It flames out because of your clutch. Because something's binding. If all this shit isn't running free and there's any kind of binding, even your brakes are too tight, your shit will quit. It won't, and you'll be like, man, why is it not idling? Why is it flaming out? And then here you go, fucking with all the carburetor and settings and all that, and that's not even your problem. Why do I tell you this? Because I've done it many times. So your clutch is very important. You just heard what Adam said. If you can't get your clutching down, doesn't matter how good a tune you think you got it, it's not going to be tuned. So, anyway, let's hear what else Adam's got to say. The man.
Another thing is engine break-in. There's so many methods out there. I mean, it's kind of a science. Everyone has their idea of what's the right way. One of the big things that I feel is very, very important to engine life is when you have a brand new engine, making sure you heat it up the first time using a heat gun, and also just keeping the engine warm during the first few tanks. So what I do is I'll heat the engine with a heat gun, and then I'll use like a 10 scale truck foam, wrap it around the head, so you still get some air to the head, but it kind of disrupts the air and helps keep the heat in the engine. And then another thing is just making sure when the engine's new that you're very, very conservative with a high-speed needle. It will do a lot of good for you in the long run. The more time you take breaking in your engine, the more life you'll have.
Valid point. You hear what the master said? The Zen, the Za-man? Huh? He just said break in. Some of you guys don't even break in your own motors. You just send them and have somebody else break it in. You know, granted that, you know, your motor's broken in, but you know nothing about your motor. If you've never broken in your own motor, you don't know nothing about it. Have I broken in millions of motors? No, I never said that I did. But I've broken in enough motors now. And different. I've broken in stock motors, and I've broken in modified motors. So it's not a huge difference, but it is a little bit different. Okay? Unless you know what I'm talking about, it's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, that's so important, man. Breaking in your motor and taking your time. Heat saturation, heating it, letting... I do the combination of how Adam does it, and the combination of Gordy Tessman, Ty Tessman's father, world champion, Ty Tessman, Nitro world champion, okay? And the Mr. Za-man, his way. I do a little combo. I do the heat cycle, you know, before I even start the motor, when it's brand new, I heat it up, 200 degrees, piston bottom dead center, let it cool down. After it heats up to 200, heat it back up, and do that about 4 or 5 times. That's just before I even start it. Then when I start it, I fire it up, get it up to around 200, and idle like a medium idle for a full tank. As soon as that tank runs low enough, I don't let it run out. Then what I do is let the motor cool down. Again, piston bottom dead center. Let it cool down to you know, ambient temperature, whatever the temperature was when you started. And then once it's cooled down, fire it up and do that same process for 4 to 5 tanks. Then I do the Adam Drake way. I put it on the ground. First tank, I run it for like on quarter throttle. You know, run it figure 8. You know, run it around, not giving it any. You know, you don't want to start nailing the throttle. Some people do. So, there's different ways, but the bottom line is Adam's saying is you need to take your time, because that's going to set you up to even how long your motor lasts, how well it performs, how easy it is to tune. All that stems on how you break in your motor. If you're not breaking in your motor patiently and not just taking your time, well, then you may never get a good tune. You always will struggle, you know, tuning that motor and getting it to perform. And it all comes from how you break it in.
Another thing to pay close attention to when tuning not only an overall engine but any engine is your linkage setup, making sure that you don't have too much deadband, and also that the carburetor is opening all the way. I see many times where a guy, his engine's struggling to have the top speed and also running very hot. And what happens is the venturi is just not, or the carburetor is not opening all the way. So you're overcompensating by running a very lean setting on top. And also if your car flexes or bottoms out, something may flex or give, and the next lap it may go really fast on the straightaway because it's actually pulling it a little more. So it's very critical to make sure that your carburetor is opening the full length of venturi you're running. So for example, if you're running a 6 mil venturi, you should always pop the air filter off and make sure that the carburetor slide is opening that full 6 millimeters. It doesn't need to open all the way until where the carburetor stops or is fully extended. It only needs to open the distance for the venturi you're running.
Aha! Really? Okay. Well, Mr. Drake, obviously, you know, that's important. You need to make sure. And, you know, people, I run on my .21s, stock. Standard is most people run a 7 venturi. I know somebody asked a question, I can't remember who it was. Now, on 28s, 32s, when you're running 9 millimeter, or the 9 millimeter venturis, you want to, well, you want to run a 9 millimeter venturi, I should say, duh. Okay. Now this was recommended by, you know, Rick at RB Mods, who obviously you guys know mods all my motors. This Pico is modded by him, and my Novarossi and my Reds. But anyway, and he's going to be modding my LRP .32, my OS, and a couple other motors for me coming up here soon. But anyway, he told me that on your Pico, on your .28s, he says, you know, just run a 9, but I'd still run a 9, which I run a 9.5. Not on this one. On the Nova, I run a 9.5. I tried a 10. 10, it was too inconsistent as the tuning. But a 9.5 is okay. So it gives it a little bit more breathing. It sucks more fuel, and you can't lean it as much, but I could feel the power difference. My modified .21, I run an 8 8.25 millimeter venturi. Okay, so that's what I run. But anyway, yeah, all you got to do is look down here. See, there's your venturi. Open the throttle up all the way. That's full throttle all the way. See? You guys see that? Boom. Actually, it's right on the wall. I could open it a little bit more, but that's plenty. You don't want it to open too much because then you're just wasting fuel. So, anyway. And then when you put on the brake, it shouldn't move. If your slide moves at all when you brake it, that's going to cause for an erratic idle. Your idle's going to be funny. But anyway, so I always check that. I check all this shit before I even run. Because I want to make sure that just one less issue that I might run into. So anyway, you heard what Adam talks about. You know, the low speed needle, you can be a little bit more, I think he talks about it in this part here, about setting.
As far as the standard settings, for the +4, generally, depending on wherever you go in the world, for me, my engines are never really much more than a couple hours on top or bottom. The fuel that you run may make a little bit of a difference, but for the most part, these are very general settings that'll get you close. The engines right out of the box are very close for break-in. Generally, what I'll do from break-in is maybe lean the low-speed needle a half a turn or so, just to make sure that it idles well. But the high-speed needle is set very rich, which is good for break-in. But as far as once you get closer to race tune, generally the low-speed needle is almost flush. And again, it will depend on which type of fuel you run.
Almost flush.
But for the most part, that'll get you very close. As far as the high-speed needle goes, that's just in from flush. probably a quarter to a half a turn in from flush.
I go a half turn in.
I see a lot of people using the +4 with the low-speed needle very, very far out on bottom. The engine will run fine there, but you'll kind of have an inconsistent tune as far as when you fuel. The engine will then be too rich. Sometimes you'll have mystery flame out. It's purely just because the engine is way too rich on bottom. As far as the +4, the high-speed needle is very close to the same setting on the Toro Nero as the +4. It's maybe a little bit closer to flush or a quarter turn in from flush, but the low-speed needle is considerably richer. The low-speed needle on the Toro Nero should be out about 1 turn from flush.
Well, I think that's enough. You guys have heard it from the man. Now, I had a guy that asked me, like, what happens when you mess with your mid-range needle? Here, if you don't have this, this is so you don't just think I'm making this up. This is the Novarossi 28.8 Legend. This is the diagram it gives you for the settings. So whenever I have these for all my motors, so whenever, you know, I need to go to back to factory setting because something got jacked up, this is where I go. As far as factory setting on your mid needle, it is, I believe, 5 turns. Okay, okay, A. So what you do, screw clockwise the high, that's the high speed needle, blah, 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 blah. Oh, there it is, okay. The medium needle, they call it. You can use it to have a finer tuning of your engine. To restore the factory setting for the mid-range, the mid needle, here it's 1.5 turn out. So you turn it clockwise until it stops and then unscrew it counterclockwise 1.5 turns. That's it. And that will give you your factory setting. Now I think that's pretty standard on any carburetor that has a mid needle. But like I was told by Rick at RB Mods, don't touch your mid needle. I have one of them that has them. That's how the new Novarossi carburetors are. I don't have it on, I didn't put it on my modded one. I didn't want it on there, but I believe I have it on my stock one. Which there it is. There's your mid needle. Never been touched. Rick actually etches them and marks them, so you don't touch them when you get your motors modded by him. But anyway, so that's that. You know, as far as the factory setting for the low end needle, I know the Novarossi is what you do. Since you guys know your factory, your low speed is, can you guys see that? Your low speed needle is right there. What you do is you screw it in all the way clockwise, okay? And then you take your slide and you pull it out, okay? And you, while you're holding it wide open, you go counterclockwise 9 turns. And I believe that'll give you your factory setting for your low end. Now, some people start at the high end, I suggest you start at, you know, whatever your setting might be, just start at the high end needle. Start, like Adam said, I run mine flush, maybe a quarter turn in, so I don't run it all the way, which is basically, I'm running it 4 turns out. I mean, that's how I do it. I get kind of mixed up on the, you know, flush and how many turns in and all that stuff. But what I usually do, Muggy Maniac's all over the Nitro Cave right now, is it's all the way in right now. And I know, because I've done it, it's all the way closed. And when you're closing these, or just be careful with them. You don't want to screw them in too hard or whatever. But anyway, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4. See, 4 turns is probably about a half a turn in from flush, which is what Adam was just talking about. So anyway, that's the basics on, you know, I mean, I'm not the best tuner. I learned from this guy. And, you know, I gave you the other links. JT12. That guy's great to learn from too, man. So, I mean, if you guys, you know, if I were you, I wouldn't be looking to anybody. I mean, don't even take my word. You know, who am I? Remember, I'm the guy that's confused. According to Mr. You-Know-Who. Which, you know, we won't get into his talking about him because he just wants me to give him airtime or YouTube time on my channel. Hell no. You got a quick look at my little... This is what I take when I go out bashing. This is my little emergency kit, I call it. Okay, oh, by the way, I've got another one of these. Remember this one I showed you guys? This one's stripped out. Damn thing. It's my favorite, too. It's stripped out, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a crack in it, like a hairline fracture. So it was cracking anyway. But I found another one on eBay, like $5, I think. Came with some Allen wrenches and shit, so I like this. And this is the TLR, Team Lusty Racing. This is one of my favorite, man. So I was bummed out when that happened. But anyway, so when I go, I mean, things that I've maybe had come, I've lost one of these. Will didn't tighten it, flew off. Wrist pin, that I've lost. These are all things that I've lost or something's happened when I've been out bashing out there and I've needed it. And I didn't have it. And this is just over the last however many years. So now every time when I go out brapping, this is my little emergency kit. I put it in this little Ziploc bag, and you know, you never know, you might need some fuel tying. Obviously, you always gotta have zip ties. Never know. So anyway, that's just in case, man. Yesterday, somehow, I don't know how, but I think I forgot to tighten. Stupid, man. I forgot to tighten one of these. I was just in a hurry, I guess, to hold on my shock, and that shit came off. The next thing I know, my shit was all over the place, and this is before my servo took a shit. And I'm like, oh my god, what the hell happened? Did the drivetrain come apart? And then it comes back and the shock's hanging up. I'm like, oh, damn it. And that's not good, you know, because during that time, you could bend your shock shaft. That's a rookie shit, man. Monkey Maniac never, that's just, I get excited, man. When I know I'm going to brap, I have to, like, calm myself down and slow down and take deep breaths, because I'm like a little kid, man. Like, I heard one guy said, it brings you back to your childhood. Man, that's what this is, man. This is where I get to be a big kid. But I am a kid, man, at heart. I'm a grown-ass man, but, man, I mean, this shit is fun. And sure, it could be, you know, a little testing at times, and testing of your patience, and testing of, man, you know, if I was to tell you that I never wanted to just quit this and hang it up and think of doing something else, if I said I never did, I'd be lying to you. Not very often, though. But I have. When I was new. Not anymore. Now, I'm too far into it. What the hell am I going to do? What am I going to do with all this shit? Put it on eBay? I'm sure somebody would buy it, but matter of fact, somebody keeps asking me if I'm selling. I'm not selling none of my shit. I will have 2 more vehicles. I will have 6 vehicles total in my fleet. No more, no less. Never sell them. Always keep them. And I'll leave them to my kids when I die. My daughters can give them to their grandkids. Who knows? Whatever. But I will keep all my shit in immaculate condition. Keep up on it. And just continue to upgrade. I mean, there's more things I want to do to this thing. More or less, you know, I'm replacing, getting, you know, the stock stuff brand new. There's not much I'm going to do to the Techno besides put more motors and pipes in it and stuff, you know, because you can't do anything to it. I might, you know, some of the stuff that's kind of worn, you know, like the shock towers, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just worn. I might replace those. They're not that expensive. But as far as hop-ups, there isn't anything to hop up on this thing. This thing is dialed, man. It's a factory, pretty much, except for nuts and bolts, a factory ready to race freaking 8-scale Techno chuggy, man. The MBX, you know, there's a few things I can do to it still. You know, I'm going to go to the different, not the CVDs or whatever, the different drive shafts to give it so it's smoother. But other than that, not much. The muggy, there's not a lot to do to the muggy except for, you know, bling bling. cosmetics. There's some carbon fiber shit I can get for it, but I'm not worried about that right now. This thing here is going to probably get the most attention. It's getting a new chassis. I'm going to replace that old chassis, and I'm going to put new shocks on it. And other than that, this thing is, it's 2005 8-skill badass truggy with freaking some 2019 freaking love to it, man. And I'm getting another body for this. So I got 1, 2, 3. It'll be my 4th body. I love this buggy, man. I'm getting another one. Not this one. I don't know what I'm going to get yet. Still looking. But it's going to be hard, man. And I'll never sell this thing. This thing is just too sick, man. It's in mint condition. When I change the chassis and upgrade the shocks, this thing will be better than any MBX 8 out there. And it's 10 years old. Just because this thing is built like a tank. All the newer ones don't come with all the freaking goodies that this thing already has on it. There's nothing to upgrade on that thing. So anyway, got a new body coming, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to get, this video is already gone, another hour for you guys of the Muggy Maniac. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that shit as far as the tuning, and, watch those videos. I put up that shit, and, I hear people, oh, well, there's controversy, and what controversy? There's no controversy in tuning. Learn how to tune by watching some of these videos. Okay? It's not hard. And it doesn't matter if your motor sits down less than 10 seconds or it sits down right away. What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't matter if your motor if it has a perfect idle. What does that matter? None of that matters. How does it run? When you nail the throttle, does it sputter, or does it lag, or does it bog, or does it get on it? That's what's important. When you hit that top end, is it hitting the high note or not? Well, then you're maybe not tuned yet. Because you could have the best idle, it could sit down right away, but it doesn't. What matters is how the thing performs. You know what I'm saying? That's what matters. So anyway, that's all I got. That's all Adam's got. And there's tons of other videos out there, man. Cody King, you watch these guys. Product. JT12. I suggest watch JT. If you want to really just... Because all these other guys have other stuff they teach you too, but just strictly tuning, watch JT12, man. That young kid knows his shit. And if you can tune it like he tunes it, I think you'll be pretty good. We're going to talk about fuel coming up, because I think that's a big thing too. People don't realize. They just think, let me just use, as long as it's nitro fuel, who cares? So you think. That affects your tuning too, believe it or not. There's a lot of things that affect your tuning other than just your motor tuning. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like I said, watch that other video. It's called The Black Art of Nitro Plugs or Glow Plugs. And the kid talks about when you run a bigger motor, you don't need a hotter plug. Quite to the contrary, you need a colder plug. So, and I found that out because I was running 4s and 5s in here, and I've been popping them. I put that 8 in there yesterday. Man, this thing all of a sudden it just woke up. So that is true. Bigger motors, cooler plugs. Smaller motors, like, .21s, .18s, hotter plugs. That Novarossi, that thing likes to run 300 degrees. Because it's a .21. The 28s and even 32s don't really need to run that hot. They're bigger motors. They're going to run hot anyway. So yeah, we got the motors back up on the shelves up here. We're gonna be taking the LRP .32 and the OS, and I don't know what else I'm gonna send them. I want to send 3. I might not send 3. I might get another Novarossi. I'm just not sure. I know I want another Nova. I've got the 28s, but I want to own another Nova. I was gonna get the .25 Romas, but they don't make them anymore, so parts will be harder than hell to get if I need them. So Rick didn't suggest me getting it. He said it's a great motor, but he said the pack, they discontinued it. Just parts are going to be hard to get for him too. So anyway, that's all I got. Muggy Maniac's going to get the MBX, Mugen MBX 7 ready to rock and roll. I'm coming up here soon. Get this thing out here and brapping. See how these servos hold up. But alright people, remember, if you're not running your shit, if your shit's a shelf queen, a shelf bitch, or whatever, it's retired for the winter, make sure your piston's bottom dead center. Alright, people, that's all I got. Shout out to everybody out there doing the work. Hey, that contest is going to be over this weekend, so far I think Wickpea is the only kid that might end up getting it. I haven't seen, or not, or yeah, he's the only kid that's threw me a video. So remember, I want you guys to send me, give me the pit name or whatever of the lamest, wackest RC nerd video, Nitro nerd, that you've seen him upload. Okay? And I'm giving some free goodies away, some good shit. So if you guys don't need it, then cool. Maybe Wikipedia might be the only one getting hooked up. So, alright, people, peace.